Hi everyone, DeAnn here. So today I was going to give you my winter survival tips. Winter's in full swing here in Minnesota, and it sounds like around the country they're getting it even worse than we are. So I'm just going to give you a few tips to make winter a little easier. But first I wanted to give you a little update on Spinraza. I know a lot of you tune in to hear how it's going. Pretty much the same as before. I've had my 4 loading doses. My 5th is going to be in March. I haven't really noticed any improvements yet. Again, I can feel my muscles more, but I haven't noticed that I can do anything more that I couldn't before. I did contact the physical therapist at the U of M just to see what her thoughts were on getting physical therapy or occupational therapy, and she was very supportive of that. However, I've been trying to work with my local places here, and because I'm on Medicare and Medicaid, it's a little bit difficult. Medicare only will pay for therapy if it's after like a hospital stay. So they would have to bill Medicaid, and a lot of places don't want to bill MA. And because it's winter, I can't really get out to physical therapy, so finding someone to do it in home is difficult as well in conjunction with billing MA. So I will let you know how it goes, but in the meantime, I'm just keeping moving on my own. I have that therapy stuff that I work with, and I fiddle with my fidget spinners and stress balls, and I work with my inspirometer to try and keep my lungs and hopefully improve them as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Back to my winter survival tips. Tip number 1, hibernate. That's what I do most of the winter. I really hate winter, and I don't like going out, so I pretty much stay home whenever possible. Part of it is germ exposure. I want to stay away from germs if possible. I really don't like getting sick this time of year, and it seems like there's just more germs around. And I also hate to bundle up. It's just hard to do because, again, I can't do it myself, so I have to have other people do it for me. To combat germs, I also recommend getting your vaccines. Flu shot every year. Sometimes it's not as effective as other years, but I think it's important to get it regardless. I've never had a bad reaction to it. I know some people don't like getting vaccines, and that's a personal decision. But for me, I've never had a bad reaction, so I do get it every year just for that extra protection. And I also get the pneumonia vaccine. Now, when I was a kid, I would get sick every year, and I would get pneumonia a lot. So one time my doctor suggested getting a pneumonia vaccine. After that, I was good. I would get a minor cold, and that would be it. Then about 10 years later, I started getting sick again every year. And I had gone to a doctor through the MDA clinic, and I was working on getting a wheelchair, and he noticed that it had been over 10 years since I had gotten the pneumonia vaccine. And he said, "You're due for a booster." And I thought, oh. So when I went back to my local physician, I mentioned it to him, and we got a booster, and again I was healthy for several years. Now I think it's about due again, because that was about 10 years ago that I got that wheelchair. So I'm going to bring it up again to my physician and see if I should get a booster. I know some people do it every 5 years. I guess, I don't know if it's what the protocol is for that. So just talk to your doctor and see what's right for you. Now back to bundling up. One tip I have for you is hand warmers. There's a lot of different brands out there. Basically they come in little 2-packs or larger singles. They come in a variety of ways. This brand is Grabber. I prefer a brand called Hot Hands just because the material they use is a little more pliable and soft. And they range, this one I think says 7+ hours of heat, and I've seen ones that go 10+, so it really depends on the brand and what kind it is and what they use, I suppose, as ingredients. But these are a little 2-pack, and I open one at a time and usually alternate between hands. I use them when I go out just because I don't like wearing gloves and mittens so much. I do wear them when it gets really cold, and another tip is I like wearing mittens best because it's difficult to get my fingers where they need to go in gloves. But whichever you prefer, I like to find ones that have that leather on the thumb and the palm. That way it's easier to grip my wheelchair joystick. I've also found mittens that are just leather, and those are nice too because then you don't have to worry about where your grip is on that. So that's just a tip with that. Now, winter coats have been my nemesis for years. I never found one that I liked. They're always bunchy, and when you have to have someone else put them on you, they're all twisted up, and it's just no fun. So what I've found is a poncho that works for me. Now, I think they do make one specifically for wheelchair users, but I just found one. It's a faux fur one, so it's a little bit warmer and a little bit heavier, but that way whoever's putting it on can just toss it over your head. It goes over your arms, over your joystick, and kind of around your wheelchair, so it's not so bunchy. I'm fortunate that I work from home, so I don't have to venture out too often, but those tips will help you if you do have to go out and want to stay warm. I also recommend a hobby. Winter days can get very long, and if you have nothing to do, it gets really boring. So I like to do crafting. Now, over time, I've had to modify what crafts I do. I used to sew a lot. I have a sewing machine that has a start-stop button. It's a Husqvarna Viking if you're interested in the brand. With the start-stop feature, it's really handy that you don't have to use a foot pedal like you do with most regular sewing machines. It takes some getting used to the timing of it. I kind of wish it was voice activated because usually I'm saying stop, stop, stop as I'm trying to push the button. I've kind of moved into a little bit of paper crafting. I like making cards because they're small and manageable, and I just thought I'd share with you some of my Christmas cards this year. I like the rustic look, so you'll see that theme through my cards, and hopefully the glare isn't too bad. Here is one of them. It says Christmas Wishes, and it has the wood grain on it and a snowflake. And the snowflake's made out of glitter paper. I have a die cutting machine that I use to cut the shapes, and sometime I'll show you how I use that. It's a little unconventional, but I can do it myself, which is really cool. It's called the Gemini Junior if you want to look into something like that. The plates that you use are a little more lightweight than on a lot of machines out there. Here is my Christmas ornaments card. Again, I use the cutting machine to cut out the ornaments, and there's some glitter on the branch to make it look snowy. Now, I do have help with stamping. I have a stamp platform that I use to position everything, and then I have help pressing it down because I just don't have enough pressure to get a good stamped image. Here is my Rudolph card. So I can hold it up high enough. And I have a little red gem on his nose to make him look like Rudolph, and I added some sparkles to it. We had a store called the Dollar District, and the Dollar District just closed, and I'm kind of sad about that because they had a lot of good crafting supplies. So I'm going to have to look for another source for inexpensive craft supplies. So that's what I do to keep busy and keep warm in the winter time. And if you have any tips for me, just add them in the comments below. Thanks, and if you like the video, click like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks everyone. Have a good day. Merry Christmas. Bye.